Have you ever wondered why life with ADHD can feel so heavy, even when you've done everything right? Why you can hit achievements, put on a smile, but still feel this undercurrent of exhaustion, shame, and loneliness? What if I told you that underneath ADHD, there's often a hidden trauma? Not always the kind people think of, but one that leaves real scars on our sense of self. Today, we're unpacking what I call the unspoken trauma of ADHD, the kind that doesn't always show up in a therapist's office with a PTSD diagnosis, but quietly shapes how we see ourselves, how we mask, and why we burn out. When I say trauma, I don't just mean a single catastrophic event. Trauma is really about what happens in our nervous system. It's important to understand that our brains don't know the difference between a bear chasing us in the woods and a teacher's sharp words in class in front of everybody. Both can trigger the same stress response. And over time, thousands of those little bears add up. Dr. Michael Jelenic, a child psychiatrist, estimated that by the time an ADHD child turns 10, they've received 20,000 more negative, critical, or corrective comments than their peers. 20,000. Imagine being told thousands of times to stop talking, pay attention, be patient, clean up your room, you're too sensitive. Over and over, it sends the message that the way we are naturally is wrong. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I don't remember getting all of that criticism. I was a good student. I worked hard. I was a good girl. And that's where I see two patterns. Some of us didn't need constant correction. Maybe it only happened once or twice, but the fear of getting that feedback again was enough. So we learned to mask through people-pleasing, perfectionism, and over-functioning, what I call the masking trifecta. Or maybe if you're like me, you may have avoided criticism in academics, but it showed up elsewhere. I was told I talked too much. I got redirected for interrupting. I was reminded to wait my turn and be patient. I heard, "You're too sensitive," whenever I had big feelings. None of these comments alone were abusive, but they stack up, especially when you're already masking so hard just to fit in, to be liked, to be loved. Now, not every ADHDer develops PTSD, but the overlap is real. Studies show that about 28 to 36% of adults with ADHD also meet criteria for PTSD. That's much higher than the general population, though keep in mind, some of that PTSD is likely from other sources of trauma, like it is with the other parts of the population. And so even if we don't hit the full threshold for PTSD, those micro traumas and shaming messages shape our nervous system and our self-esteem. So why does this matter? Because ADHD trauma often leads to a relentless inner critic that echoes those old voices, deep shame about who we are, burnout from years of masking and overfunctioning, and maybe the most painful, a sense that no one really knows the real us. If this resonates, please know you're not alone and nothing about you is fundamentally flawed. Understanding ADHD trauma is the first step towards self-compassion and freedom from shame. If you're ready to take this deeper, I created something called the Self-Love Woman Way: How to Stop Playing Small with ADHD. It's a journal book experience designed to help you unpack the hidden patterns that keep ADHD women stuck. Things like masking, people-pleasing, and the inner critic, and guide you towards showing up with clarity and confidence. You can find the link below. Because healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's about finally being allowed to be fully who you are. You've got this. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.